Right then, welcome back. Today we're doing the last exhibition event. The last one. We've got an invitational to do, and we've got the endurance stuff to do, but that's it. So we're going to move on to the final event soon. The first one, Cadwell Woodlands, and we're on supermotos. And we're going to use that at the Honda CRF. Now these things, I haven't really spent a massive amount of time setting them up. So with my newfound knowledge on preload and keeping the tyres warm, I thought, I'll give it a go. We'll drop the preload down, well, muck about with the settings. Now they are quite twitchy, so lowering stuff off and getting them to react a bit more calmly isn't a bad thing. And a bit more lean angle as well. So, attempt number one, we made a bit of a mess of it. Playing catch up, lock the front, off we get. Attempt number two, forgot wheelie control was on 0 and just decided to get straight off the back. So attempt number three, well, we get off to a great start, and as you can see from the graphic in the bottom right corner, we are actually getting a little bit of temperature in the tyres now. So off the start, the AI brake way too early for this little hairpin at turn one. Round you go, watch for the bump in the road, and then off towards the mountain. Second gear, try to make that second right-hander a bit more shallow, like as in trying to run a straight line through it. Watch for the wheelie and the jump over the top, and then into Hall Bends. And the bike was okay, a bit soft, little bit like jellyish. However, it was holding temperature in the tyres, which is the important thing. So, down the straight, over the line, 40 odd seconds for a lap. I think, happy days, we're on to a winner. Lap 3, into Hall Bends, way too fast, over the curbs, upsets the bike, and we get off. So then, it's a case of, I've got 2 laps left to pass as many bikes as possible. I better get a move on. Down the straight, we go past one, we encourage the person in second place to fall off. Thank you very much, sir. And then it's just a case of catching Cody Murray, who's quite quick around the Woodland circuit, and making sure I don't make any mistakes. And it was alright, it wasn't too bad. The bike's quite good, they sound quite meaty. So what I'll do is I'll shut up and I'll let you enjoy the last lap. And it's done. And everything I said about tyre temperature at the start went out the window. Front tyre, yeah, just holding no temperature whatsoever. It might be a symptom of the track. It's not a very fast track, so the load through the tyre is quite low. However, someone has asked me to do a supermoto setup guide, so I'll have a little play and see what I come up with, and if I can work it out, I'll do it. Right. Race 2, Kanto, full. This is where the problem started, because I need to get Harley Davidson to level 4. So guess what we're going to use? Yes, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, we're going to use that, the shit rod. Now, my love for Harley Davidson is no secret, and this thing was horrendous, because not only did I not have a clue how to set it up, because it weighs 3/4 of a kiloton and it's made from World War II recycled iron. It's just shit to ride, and the other riders are on Monster 696s, MT-07s, 690 SMCs, 701 Supermoto Husqvarnas, and I'm on a Harley shit rod, and this was just brutal. The French rider Fabrice Blanchet at the front, oh my god, no matter what I did, I could not catch up. Attempt 1 we low side off, attempt 2 we'd go in the barriers and die by the looks of it. I thought, well, the problem is the setup's all wrong, I've not got enough support at the front, I'm cooking the tyre, so I maxed the front suspension out. Still no good, still a red hot front tyre, rear tyre not doing anything. Attempt 3 we're in 4th, trying to cut corners. Attempt 4 we get nerfed out, lose the front end, crash into the barrier. Attempt 5, try a wild move up the inside, and she just leans on me a little bit, and down we go. And some of these, I mean, it's a long lap, it's 3+ minutes for 1 lap, and you've got to do 5 laps of the bloody place. Yes, I could have picked a faster bike, but that's not the point. I don't need common sense answers. What I need is Harley Davidson at level 4, so I can do the bloody event and never have to use one again, unless they give me one in an event, but I don't think there's any more DLC. But that's aside from the point I'm trying to make. The point I'm trying to make is I'm an idiot and I shouldn't have used the Harley Davidson, but I did. So attempt number 796 squillion, we got off to a good start. Pulled a bit of a gap, half a second. The Japanese rider and the French rider very fast through here on their supermotos with their lean angle, how dare they, where I'm scraping everything on the Harley to dust going around the corners. The Japanese rider goes past and it's like, I'm not going to be able to do this on this bike. So where was I strong? Braking points. Down this back straight, onto the double right-hander over the bridge, and then along that little straight, double left-hander, along that little straight, through the right-hander, into the really sharp left, and then down that straight and back up the other straight. That was where I was quick. Well, that's where the bike was okay. Everywhere else, crap. Absolutely crap, shit, like bobbins, whatever word you want to use. But through this bit, it was alright, it was quite good. I've got 0.8 of a second, or I did have 0.8 of a second, 0.7 of a second, 7, 8, and so on and so forth. And honestly, apart from getting a 0.152 of a second penalty, that's it. I just got my head down and went. I was shitting my pants that she was going to out-drag me to the line with my 1/10 of a second penalty, but we did it. We did it by half a second, so what? 4/10, 3.5 of a second by the time the timing screen comes up and everything else. And I had to go and have a, literally, genuinely, actually had to go and have a little lie down because that melted my head. That was horrific. Don't use the Harley for that race. Use anything else. Any other bike that's available for that event, use it. Don't use the Harley. Moving swiftly on. Race 3. VIR, Virginia International Raceway. VIR. Full circuit, quick circuit, bumpy. Very bumpy. There's a load of chicanes before you get onto the back straight out, and it just unsettles the bike. The bike has a right wobble. So I thought, what haven't you used? XSR 900, level 1. Nice triple engine. Good evening, Safi. A nice triple engine. Makes a nice noise, unlike my pussycat. Hello, what's the matter? Are you hungry? Tough shit, you've been fed. I thought we'll go for it. I am having a little bit of a love fest for triples at the moment. I am considering buying a triple to replace my Kawasaki if the boss / bank manager / chief whip says I can. But anyway, we set it up. Again, another circuit where front tyre temperature can be a little bit of a pain in the backside. So I went with a setup that I thought was there or thereabouts, considering the weight of the bike and everything else. Almost flip it off the line, attempt 1, and we're up against I think there's some street triples, some hyper motards in here, GSR 750s and a few other sort of like middleweight naked bikes. The AI were very, very aggressive. I gently assisted him off the right hand side of the track and he decided to come back and try and knock me off, but it is what it is. That'll be the pre-programmed lines the AI like to take and don't like avoiding them or letting you shove them off them. And we're doing alright, the bike's okay, a little bit understeery through here, it's wide of the apex. I thought, I just need to temper my entry speed. And down this back straight, under the Nissan bridge, and then watch how unsteady the bike is through these corners. And it's not just this bike, it's every bike. Look at that on the bumps, oh no, oh no. If that was genuinely a motorcycle you were riding, you would be considering calling some form of emergency service to come and rescue you and extract your bollocks from whatever part of your body they've vanished into. But anyway, we go through the double apex, turn 13, turn 14, and then we're down the back straight. We're pulling away, we've got 3, 4, 5 tenths of a second. And this is the only bit of the track that I don't like. There's instability I can deal with. It's this chicane. There's no braking markers whatsoever. There's no cones, there's no little orange markers, there's no boards saying 3, 2, 1. You've just got to pluck the braking point out of your backside and just decide, well, where the brakes are going on and see what happens. Aside from that, I like the place. I've done a lot of miles on Forza and other games, and I missed the braking point for turn 16 and we're off into the grass. Now, I did consider restarting it. I thought, I'll give it a go and see what happens. And we're in 8th. By the time I got going again, we're in 8th. It is what? Well, we start lap 2, aren't we? We're just coming up to the sort of like infield bit of lap 2. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to fight my way back from 8th, we're in 7th already, and get to the front and win it without getting penalties, which on this place can be quite hard because I do stupid things like that. So down the back straight, through, I don't know what we're going to call these, what's the name, just turn 10. Turn 10, what, turn 11, turn 12? Oh no, we're just missing numbers out now, we're just counting the left or right hand corners, no problem. Up to 5th, little wheelie over the rise, up to 4th, and we're doing alright. I thought, you know what, this could be dead easy. I've made most of them up in half a lap. Happy days, no problem. Down the back straight, bit of a wheelie, and think I'll brake him into this corner and everything will be well with the world. However, he was better on the brakes than me, and I was slightly annoyed. Go on then. So we're still having to graph, we've gone through the chicane, and the one thing I did use them for was to look for the braking point in this corner, because I waited right to the apex of the left-hander and made an absolute arse of it. Through the downhill bends, down the left-hander, another left-hander, and then we're into like a big compression and a right-hander. Be careful, the bike wants to bottom out and run wide there, and this next one as well, it just nips as you get to the apex, you've got to be careful. So down the start finish straight. Straightaway. It's a straightaway. No, it's not. It's a straight. Well, that's not even a straight. Little bit of contact into the braking zone. We got past him. Now I thought it was done and dusted. However, he had, or they, Mr. Tommy Edwards, had other ideas. And there was a little bit of argy-bargy, pudding and pie, and it took ages to catch up to the rider in second. Almost a lap actually. We're through. We're passed. We're done. And first, exactly a lap later, I go round the inside. He's not very happy about it, or they are not very happy about it. They decide to go around the outside. There's a little bit of resistance, but not enough to dissuade us. We are more resilient than that. Into the left-handers, and we are away. No, we're not, because he comes back at us, and that was the most unexpected overtake ever. Forces me to run a little bit deep into this corner, square it off, cut back, try and hold him on the outside of the bend, force him out to a line he doesn't want to be on, and now we can relax because we're through, we're past, and we're quicker through the bumpy bits, and that's it. So it was a little bit of fun, bit of ding-dong. The bike's actually on that track, despite the tyres being cold, because the bike setup was obviously a little bit too stiff. They're using a lot of their performance all of the time. You are running full throttle for at least 40% of that lap. So that's a good bike choice by Milestone on that track. It worked well because they just seem to throw 1000cc bikes at everything, and just that'll do. We'll go do 5 laps of that track on that 1000cc bike. So it was nice to use something different. Event 4, race 4, French Riviera. Now I'm scanning across all the makes of bikes and I'm going, I can see a Harley. Now I do not know. I genuinely do not know what possessed me to think I could do a lap of the French Riviera in the wet on that heap of shit and get a gold medal. Because it didn't happen. I am miles off the pace. Not only am I miles off the pace, it doesn't want to stop or turn. So I've got 10 seconds left to get across the line. It was never happening, nowhere near. So I came back out again and decided to pick that. The bike with the brightest wheels known to man. Although I do think they might have pinched this colour scheme off the MT10, but that's not my place to say. That's for people to decide on their own merit. So it's wet, it's French Riviera, not one of my favourite tracks, although, to quote one of my subscribers, shit to the bed, French Riviera is good. French Riviera is good. However, on attempt number 2 it wasn't, because we missed it. Not by much, we had a little bit of a get off, it caused a bit of problems, and I missed it by a second. We were running out of revs everywhere as well. When the bike was over on the side of the tyre, the circumference of the tyre drops down, and the revs go up and anything, and all that jazz. So anyway, attempt 3, through the tunnels, flat out, absolutely flat out, on the gas, just let the bike slide about, use the rear wheel, get it over speed and get it spinning a little bit to turn the bike through the bends. Just don't go too far because the physics doesn't like it and it kicks you off. Watch for the lump halfway around turn 3, watch for the bump on the exit, and then pick a braking point, because I always brake way too early for this. There's the 50 metre board, and you need to be just before that 50 metre board and trail the brakes all the way in to that corner. Hold it tight, don't run too wide, you'll smear yourself down the rocks. And this, I hate this next corner. This next corner genuinely gives me nightmares. Where do I turn in? Don't know, can't see. Especially at night, because there's a light just before that corner and it creates a fog that you can't see through. But anyway, less complaining, more talking. Up the back straight, look for the sign for the corner there, the little U. Get to the 100 metre board, slam the brakes on, down the gears, it tightens up halfway round, let the bike run back towards the apex, patient on the gas, accelerate, and then don't brake too late for this one. Alright, there's your 100 metre board. Just after the 100 metre board, get on the brakes, run it round second gear, it's downhill, the camber's running away from you, so you've got to be gentle on the gas. And now we can have some fun, because you can throw it through the left-hander, get on the brakes as you see the right-hand corner, and then brake, second or first, your choice, and just let the bike hold a line through here. Don't accelerate or brake, just a nice neutral throttle. Watch the wheelie, into the left. As soon as you start going through the left, on the brakes, you don't want to brake too late because you'll cut the tyre and you'll slide off into the wall. And then this left-hander, patient, pull it tight, and then use that angle, that nice wider angle, to fire it through the right-hander down the hill. Look for your braking board on the left, that one there, just after it, on the brakes, all the way down to second gear. And again, this tightens up, the radius gets a bit tighter just as you get towards the exit. Run it out to the curb on the outside and make these as straight as you can. So nice wide lines, think about a Moto 3 or a 250 bike, all the way through, flat out. Bike's just about kissing the limiter as we come through that, across the line, and we've done it quite easy in the end. That was a difficult target, don't get me wrong. Yes, I'm not the greatest exponent of riding a motorbike on Ride 4 at French Riviera. That was a tough target. That was not a scruffy lap by any means, and we didn't do it by miles. But anyway, 4 down, 1 to go. Last one, Alton Park. Now, I genuinely love this place. It's a great track. Loads of elevation change. I thought I'll treat myself, and I'm going to use one of my favourite ever motorcycles. And I'm not a massive fan of modern bikes, as in the most recent stuff, because they're too fast. So we're going to use that. The absolutely gorgeous Aprilia Tuono V4 1100 factory. I would not like to be writing that on a regular basis because it's a right mouthful. We're at Alton and it's wet. It's not just wet, it's drenched, it's soaked, but it's going to dry out. So what do you do with the setup? Not sure. I want plenty of lean angle, but I need the bike to be stable, because down through the first couple of corners, you've got I can't remember what corner it is. It's not, I don't know, we'll see when we get there. You've got the right-hander, downhill right-hander. It's very bumpy on the braking area. And then you go into the left-hander and down the back straight, down the straight towards Shell Oil's hairpin. But it's a weird circuit. Loads of elevation change, loads of bumps. Attempt 1. I thought I'd saved it. I thought this is a monster wheelie, and then it just flipped me over the back. So we get off. So I turned the wheelie control on because I was trying to ride the bike without it because I'm an absolute lunatic. Put the traction control on 1 and off we went, attempt number 2. Now, we get off the line really well. Rider on the street, fighter on the outside. Fancies a little bit of argy-bargy, but we encourage him not to do that. And this is it, through this right-hander. What is it, Denton's down here. This is mega bumpy. And in like through Cascades, you've got to have the bike set up nicely there, nice and stable, otherwise it'll spit you off as it does later on. So attempt number 1, we run wide into Druids, really wide. We're on that green matting stuff that the grass grows through. Wow, what a mouthful. And we end up down in 3rd. AI rider's quick, not mucking about, it's wet, it's slippy. I've turned the traction off again because the bike was just being held back all the time. I thought I'll just manage it myself and let it slide about. And the one thing this bike had, once I turned the traction off, the one thing it had was mega rear grip. I could get out of corners and just accelerate past the other bikes. It was not an issue at all. I mean, that's round the outside into Denton's, welded to the backside of the Spanish rider, through Cascades, and then we got on the straight. Look at the drive out of there. Absolutely monstrous. Mega. Hit the brakes at the wrong point, just on the rise, get the back wheel swinging in the air, through Island Bend, and then down to the Shell Oils hairpin, or Shell Oils corner, whatever we're calling it now. Mega corner, loads of banking, carry the brakes in there, do what you want. You see the bike just sliding about as I get on the gas. And lap 5, we've got a decent lead, 6 seconds, we're miles in front, go through here and watch the bike. Ooh, get that. Just, the back end was off the floor, it had a bit of a wobble and it spat me off. That's that stability. I was pushing and pushing, trying to go faster and faster and faster to see what kind of lap time we could get. But other than that, by far and away, the best race of the lot. I know I went, oh, the 900s were good on VI. That bike on that track in those conditions, it wasn't about having 1,000,000 horsepower because you couldn't use it. You can see it's sliding about all over the place. It's just a treat, and it sounds glorious. That V4, that V4's on a different planet. But it's done. It's done. 5 races, 5 golds. Don't use Harleys. Yeah, if you take nothing else away from this, just take that. Do not, I beg, I implore you, do not use a Harley Davidson. Because they're shit. But anyway, thank you very much for watching. I would say leave me a comment, but nobody does. Well, a couple of people do, but no one really tells me how they're getting on. So stop being selfish, and fingers crossed, I will see you next time. Stay safe. Peace.